Hello my friends. Lesson 13. Michael Jackson is one of the most famous entertainers in history. People call him the king of pop, and his influence on music, dance and global culture is impossible to measure. His life story is full of incredible talent, hard work, creative genius, worldwide fame, and deep personal struggles. For many English learners, reading about Michael Jackson is not only inspiring but also a great way to learn new words while discovering the life of an extraordinary artist. Michael Joseph Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, a small industrial city in the United States. He was the eighth of 10 children in the Jackson family. His parents, Joseph and Catherine Jackson, wanted a better life for their children, and they quickly noticed that many of them had musical talent. But even among his siblings, Michael stood out. Even as a small boy, he could sing with amazing emotion, and he had a natural sense of rhythm that surprised adults around him. Michael's father, Joseph, created a family group called the Jackson Brothers, which later became the Jackson 5. Michael was only 5 years old when he joined the group. He became the lead singer even though he was the youngest. His voice had a unique tone, clear, expressive, and full of energy. When Michael performed, audiences were shocked by his confidence. He moved like a professional even before starting school. In 1969, the Jackson 5 signed with the famous record label Motown Records, and their career exploded. Their first 4 singles, I Want You Back, ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There, all reached #1 on the U.S. charts. This had never happened before for such a young group. Michael became a teenage superstar almost overnight. People all around the world fell in love with his smile, his voice, and his charisma. But being a child star was not easy. Michael had to rehearse for hours, perform on television shows, record music, and travel from city to city. He didn't have a normal childhood, and later in life, he often spoke about feeling lonely and pressured. His father was strict and demanding, which helped build their success but also caused emotional stress for Michael. Still, despite these challenges, he learned discipline, professionalism, and determination, qualities that later made him one of the greatest performers ever. By the mid-1970s, Michael wanted to grow beyond the Jackson 5 and explore more creative freedom. He started acting and performed in The Wiz, a movie adaptation of the popular musical The Wizard of Oz. This project changed his life because he met Quincy Jones, the legendary music producer who later helped shape Michael's solo career. In 1979, Michael released the album Off the Wall. It was a breakthrough, a fresh, danceable mix of pop, funk, and disco. With songs like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You, Michael showed the world that he wasn't just a former child star. He was a mature, inventive artist. The album sold millions of copies and became a classic. But Michael wasn't satisfied. He wanted something bigger, something that would change music forever. He was about to do exactly that. After the success of Off the Wall, Michael Jackson set himself a new goal, to create the greatest album ever made. He wanted music that would reach every corner of the world, unite different cultures, and redefine what pop music could be. He worked day and night, writing, recording, and experimenting with new sounds. Together with producer Quincy Jones, he created an album that changed the history of entertainment, Thriller. Released in 1982, Thriller became a cultural phenomenon. It included legendary songs such as Billie Jean, Beat It, and the title track Thriller. Each song had its own unique style, a mix of pop, rock, funk, soul, and even cinematic storytelling. But what truly made Thriller special was the combination of music, visuals, and dance. Michael introduced new ideas that were revolutionary for the early 1980s. His short film for Thriller, directed by John Landis, was unlike anything the world had seen. It wasn't just a music video, it was a mini-movie with costumes, special effects, complex choreography, and a dramatic storyline. When it aired on MTV, audiences were stunned. The video broke racial barriers on American television, making MTV more diverse and opening doors for future black artists. Thriller became the best-selling album of all time, with over 66 million copies sold worldwide. It earned multiple Grammy Awards and turned Michael into a global icon. He was no longer just a talented musician, he was a universal symbol of creativity, ambition, and excellence. At the same time, Michael created his signature dance move, the moonwalk. When he performed it live during Billie Jean on television in 1983, millions of viewers were amazed. The move quickly became one of the most famous dances in history. It looked magical, as if Michael was sliding smoothly across the floor without gravity. Dancers all over the world tried to copy it. The 1980s were a period of explosive success for Michael. He released the album Bad in 1987, again produced by Quincy Jones. It included hits like Smooth Criminal, The Way You Make Me Feel, and Man in the Mirror. The Bad World Tour was massive, millions of fans attended his concerts, sometimes camping outside stadiums for days. People fainted when they saw him. Some countries declared public safety concerns because crowds were too large. Michael Jackson had become more than a star, he was a worldwide sensation. During this period, he also became known for his humanitarian work. He donated millions of dollars to hospitals, schools, and charities. He visited sick children, supported campaigns against hunger, and spoke loudly about peace and unity. His song We Are the World, which he co-wrote with Lionel Richie in 1985, raised huge funds for Africa. The message was simple: humanity is stronger when people help each other. Despite his fame, Michael lived a private and emotionally complex life. He struggled with intense media pressure. The press followed his every step, creating stories about him, some true, some exaggerated, and some completely invented. Michael tried to focus on his art, but the world constantly watched him. People were fascinated not only by his music but also by his appearance, lifestyle, and personal experiences. Still, Michael continued pushing boundaries. In the early 1990s, he released Dangerous, an album that introduced a new sound influenced by pop, new jack swing, rock, and world music. Songs like Black or White, Remember the Time, and Heal the World became global hits. The music videos were cinematic, creative, and filled with powerful messages. Michael used his fame to talk about racial equality, environmental protection, and children's rights. By this time, Michael Jackson was one of the most recognizable people on earth. He could not walk in public without being surrounded by thousands of fans. His concerts sold out instantly. His influence reached every country, from the United States to Asia, Africa, South America, and Europe. He was a true global figure, someone who shaped fashion, dance, music, and entertainment in ways no other performer had done before. But his journey also included challenges, controversies, and personal battles, which would shape the next chapters of his life. In the mid-1990s, Michael Jackson reached a level of fame that very few people in history had ever experienced. He was admired, loved, and celebrated everywhere he went. But the same fame brought enormous pressure. In the mid-1990s, Michael Jackson reached a level of fame that very few people in history had ever experienced. He was admired, loved, and celebrated everywhere he went. But the same fame brought enormous pressure. Every moment of his life was followed by cameras, reporters, and tabloids searching for stories, sometimes real, sometimes exaggerated, and sometimes completely fabricated. Michael was a sensitive and private person. He loved creativity, children, animals, and peaceful places. But the media often focused on his appearance and unusual lifestyle. Rumors spread quickly, and even simple facts about his health or home life were turned into sensational stories. This constant attention deeply affected him. In 1993, Michael faced the first major scandal of his career, accusations that shocked the world. He denied all wrongdoing, and later the case was settled out of court. Many people supported him, believing he was targeted because of his fame. However, the experience damaged his emotional well-being and made him even more withdrawn. Despite personal challenges, Michael continued creating powerful music. In 1995, he released H.I. Story, Past, Present, and Future, a double album that combined his greatest hits with new songs full of emotion and social messages. Tracks like They Don't Care About Us, Earth Song and Scream showed his frustration with injustice, environmental destruction, and intense media pressure. The album became one of the best-selling multi-disc albums of all time. Michael also married twice, first to Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of Elvis Presley, and later to Debbie Rowe, a nurse who helped bring his first two children into the world. In public, these relationships created much discussion, but Michael tried his best to keep his family life private. He loved his children deeply and wanted to protect them from the spotlight. Throughout the early 2000s, Michael continued to face intense public attention. Documentaries, interviews, and sensational media stories followed him constantly. Some narratives were supportive, while others were critical or misleading. In 2005, he went through a highly publicized trial. After months of testimony, the jury found him not guilty on all charges. Many fans celebrated the verdict and believed he was unfairly targeted once again. However, the trial took a severe emotional and financial toll on Michael. He became more reclusive, often staying away from public appearances. He moved between different countries, including Bahrain, Ireland, and the United States, looking for peace and inspiration. Even during tough years, Michael never stopped dreaming about performing. He spent time writing new songs, planning projects, and imagining a spectacular return to the stage. Music remained the center of his life. Whenever he felt lost or overwhelmed, he returned to the studio. Creating melodies, harmonies, and dance ideas helped him stay connected to the world. In the late 2000s, Michael began preparing for a huge comeback concert series called This Is It. The shows were planned to take place in London and were expected to be some of the most advanced performances ever created. Dancers from all over the world auditioned to work with him. Behind the scenes, Michael was excited, hopeful, and full of creative energy. He wanted to reconnect with his fans and show that he still had the power, talent, and magic that had made him a legend. Sadly, he would never have the chance to perform them. In early 2009, Michael Jackson surprised the world when he announced his major comeback concert series, This Is It. The shows were planned to take place in London's O2 Arena, and there were more than 50 performances scheduled. Tickets sold out in just a few hours. Fans from around the world were excited to see him return to the stage after many years of silence. Behind the scenes, Michael was fully focused on creating something extraordinary. He worked long hours with dancers, musicians, choreographers, and designers. He wanted every detail, lighting, sound, dance moves, costumes, and visual effects, to be perfect. Even after decades in the industry, his passion for performing remained strong. During rehearsals, Michael showed that he still had his famous energy and charisma. He practiced his iconic moves, sang live with incredible precision, and shared new artistic ideas. The production team often said that Michael had a magical presence. When he walked into the room, everyone felt inspired. Many young dancers considered it the greatest moment of their careers to work with him. However, the comeback project also brought stress and exhaustion. Michael wanted to meet the expectations of millions of fans, and the pressure was enormous. People close to the rehearsals noticed that he was both excited and anxious. Despite this, he continued to push himself, believing that the concerts would mark a new beginning in his life. Then, on June 25, 2009, the world received heartbreaking news: Michael Jackson had died at the age of 50. The announcement shocked people everywhere. Streets filled with fans crying, singing his songs, and lighting candles. Television channels across the globe paused regular programming to honor the life of the King of Pop. It was one of the most emotional moments in modern music history. Soon after his death, fans learned that Michael had been preparing intensely for the concert series. A documentary titled This Is It was released a few months later. It showed rehearsal footage, behind-the-scenes moments, and Michael's creative process. The film proved that he was still full of talent, ideas, and love for performing. Many people saw it as a beautiful final gift to his fans. Even after his passing, Michael Jackson's influence continued to grow. His music reached new generations through streaming platforms, social media, and dance challenges. Songs like Billie Jean, Thriller, Black or White, Smooth Criminal, and Man in the Mirror remained cultural landmarks. Young artists often mentioned Michael as their inspiration, admiring his vocal ability, emotional expression, and unmatched dance technique. Michael's dance style also remained famous. Moves like the moonwalk, the toe stand, the spin, and the robot continued to appear in performances around the world. Dance teachers used his routines to inspire students. Many dancers said that learning Michael Jackson's choreography was a special milestone, something they would never forget. Beyond music, Michael's humanitarian work became more recognized over time. He supported dozens of charities, visited hospitals and orphanages, and donated millions of dollars. He believed deeply in helping children and protecting the planet. His song Heal the World became a symbol of peace and compassion, encouraging people to care for one another. Despite controversies and challenges, Michael Jackson's artistic legacy remains powerful. He transformed pop music, revolutionized music videos, and pushed the boundaries of performance. His creativity shaped the entertainment industry, influencing everything from fashion to choreography and stage design. Today, Michael Jackson is remembered not only as a superstar but as a global cultural icon. His life was full of incredible achievements, personal struggles, and moments of pure artistic brilliance. For many people, his music continues to bring joy, comfort, and inspiration. Even years after his death, Michael Jackson remains one of the most influential entertainers the world has ever known.